The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey Mario, how you doing, bud? Okay, I got my chicken, I got my lunch, I got my napkins. This is a little greasy in here. So we got Mr. Fried Chicken on the line today. That's his Skype name, which is Robert. No, not Robert. I was thinking of Kentucky Fried Chicken. Roger Rowe. Paul, you can hear me? Mario, Jake, everybody? JC, everybody cool? Everybody hear me okay? Okay, I got 5 Pauls in a row. That's pretty interesting. Look at that. Paul, 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 Paul. If you're not Paul, you don't get the bonus today. How about that? Did I say that there was a Paul? Okay, so enough of all that. Sorry we're late. Let me give you a little bit of a background history here about what we're going to do today. Roger and I have been talking for a long time, and you'll have to forgive his accent. It's kind of sometimes hard to understand. And I'll tell you one thing, the one thing I was talking about earlier with another friend of mine, Rick Porter, is that, he doesn't really spend a lot of time on webinars because he likes to put them on double speed. And one of the things I was telling Rick earlier is, like, there's some people when I get on webinars, I wish it was 3 and 4 speed. So, afterwards, if you go back and play this, you might want to put it on 3 or 4 speed, but you can't, so you're going to be stuck with double speed, since what maybe you're going to hear today is maybe just a little bit slower than I normally talk. So we want to make sure that you get the full gist of everything that we're going to do. So basically, I'm going to let Roger take over here in a minute. And he and I have been chatting for a long time. And Roger is, I don't know, how would I say it? He is a geek technician to the details that bore me to death. And you guys probably know that, I'm not a detail kind of guy. I let that be taken care of by other people that actually love to do that. And that's Roger. So he came to me and he said, look, your training, is great. I've gone through this, but there's a couple holes in it. And I think that I might be able to do a much better, not only for myself, because this is what I need to do, but I've documented everything. So he kind of showed me what he did. I kind of liked it. And I thought, well, we're going to continue to do the stuff that we do. But for those of you that might be interested in really digging in and understanding the how-to, the nuances, some techniques, some recipes, some other things, which is what Roger's kind of put together. He approached me and said, what if I put this together and made a training course? And for those that are interested in digging and learning more and going deeper, it might be of value to them. So we're going to find out today whether you agree with me or not, okay? And so with that being said, I will turn it over to Mr. Roger Rowe.
Are you implying that I speak slowly?
I did not say any word about you at all.
Okay. I'm Roger Rowe. I've been around for about 12 years, and I know that's geezer time to a lot of people. Do you, Paul? I mean, do you have any idea what the experience level of the people who are on with us? You know all these people, right?
Anywhere from about 1 to 2 years to 20.
Okay, so there'll be some that know exactly what the history of SEO is, and some.
Oh, 2 days. We got a brand new guy. 2 days. JC's only been around in the business for 2 days.
Okay, well, this will be a good education. I'm going to make this real short because not everybody needs an education. I understand that.
Everybody, no, you're wrong. There's nobody in our existence that does not need to be educated in some way. That's why we keep making new programs to help people educate themselves to different ways to do things, to save time so they make more money so that they can be with their family more.
Well, then maybe everybody can benefit from a different perspective in that case. So I'll just go ahead and get on with it. In about 2008, 2009, right after I got in the business about 2007. I closed a nice contracting business when the economy went down in 2008. At the end of 2007 is when I got started, and a program had popped up to do everybody's backlinking, and it was called Linkvana. And I already had this forum is about 11 or 12 years old, and we were already doing power linking back then, and you can see some of the stuff that we've been through.
Somebody actually knows what you're talking about.
Yeah, well, kinda. I mean, I don't know everything, but I do have some experience.
Yep, Alex, good old Linkvana days.
Linkvana, for the people who were in my forum, Linkvana was an expensive proposition. We were buying .info domains for 99 cents at that time because we were building huge block networks as money sites. We started with WP Robot, and I didn't like what it did, so I wound up having a plugin done that added a bunch more capability. But we would run across these sites where we couldn't get me as well as the people who were masterminding with me here. Some sites just wouldn't produce for whatever reason. We didn't have time to figure it out because we were just building more sites, and it was cheap to do at the time. So I came up with an idea called Poor Man's Linkvana, and you can see this was
2009.
2010, April 28, 2010, in the upper right hand corner, that I laid this out for everybody and said, we've got these sites, and they're not producing any money. I've got them, you've got them, everybody's got them. So we're just going to use these to backlink to our other sites. And that was great, and it worked for a while. Well, that idea eventually became PBNs. That was before PBN was PBN. They didn't call it PBN then. So we've gone through a myriad of things, Linkvana, and then Poor Man's Linkvana. Then we got into XRummer, and then of course PBNs came along a little bit after XRummer. We got into Scrapebox, doing comment linking, and GSA, and we've used all those, and all of them were at one time, they were the thing, and it was the best that you could get. But things have changed now, and the algorithms have changed, technology's changed, ideas have changed, and so that's what brought us to RFR. And when I found RFR, I said, this is the real deal. And I knew at the time that it was huge, and Patrick, I called you and told you, got in touch with you to tell you about what I thought. And it is extremely incredible. And I'm not selling RFR here. I don't need to sell RFR. You guys probably already have RFR. But what I saw was truly incredible. So I bought in right away. And then I went back and read the entire Skype group when I first got in. I just went all the way to the beginning and read all the way through to the current day, because like Patrick said, I'm not a detailed geek like that. And I made notes, the whole way through. It took me a couple of days to get through it, but I had a little better understanding of what was going on once I did that. There were, not everybody's going to be a power user in RFR, and it takes a lot of time to become a power user with RFR. And that what I've tried to do is shorten the process. Now, I didn't do this for anybody other than me. I wanted to understand the process detail by detail, step by step, from end to end, so that I would be able to manage my VAs. Obviously, you can't manage a VA and help them learn things if you don't know those details yourself. So,
how many of you guys still think backlinks are relevant? I think that's a little bit what Roger's trying to talk about. And back in the day, backlinks were the rage. You could just, do all kind of spammy backlinks and get away with it, but, the question is, backlinks, are they relevant or not? you know. So I just thought I'd pop that question up there to see if there's anybody on the webinar here, Roger, that we need to remove from the webinar. I'm just waiting for somebody to answer the appropriate way.
Can you
cool.
still see my screen?
No, hold on. You're good. Go ahead.
Okay.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys.
So, I mean, backlinking is not changed. I mean, it's changed, but the fact that we need it hasn't changed, and it's always going to be this way. This is the way the Google algorithm was built. If you were around back in the late 90s, you know that you could rank anything with anchor text of click here. There's anybody that had click here, and this, I wasn't in the business yet, but I was playing with it. And if you had click here everywhere on your web page, you could rank stuff for anything you wanted to rank it for. And so it's changed a little bit, and Google's got a little bit better, but they can't stay out ahead of us for too long at a time.
I think Samuel kind of says it best, Roger, is that backlinking is relevant, but quality backlinks are the key.
And high authority backlinks, or just to be a little bit more specific.
Yep.
The DA and PA, Google says they're not, relevant metrics anymore. That's bull. Just because they don't want to talk about it anymore doesn't mean it's not relevant to the ranking algorithm. I believe it is, and I believe we have plenty of proof to the contrary of what they say. We have proof that the RFR family of tools work from a couple of different sources. I saw a webinar with the guy named Brian from California, not from California, but from Colorado, right?
Yeah, Brian Cato. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Brian Cato. He did a test, and he was using just Sheets, right?
Correct.
So he was using only one tool that's available to people in RFR. And he said that he did 2 runs with Sheets, and it took him to the top, and he overcooked it a little bit. So what did he delete or make one of his folders private? How did he handle that?
He deleted them.
He deleted them. Okay. He deleted them, and then what happened to his rankings?
It just popped right up to number 1.
They just went right back up.
Yeah.
So that's the thing about XRummer, GSA, PBNs, and poor man's link fauna. You couldn't do that. You couldn't make that kind of adjustment by just regular backlinking. And that's with what is available in the factory set of tools. I don't understand why people are still doing it the old way.
Let me just back up a little bit of what you're talking about for those that may not know. Does everybody understand what Roger's talking about by deleting backlinks and what you can do with Money Robot and the rest of them? Just give me a no if you don't understand what we just said. Anybody a no? Okay, cool. So Samuel, here's the thing. When you're using any of the ranking store products, whether it's RFR, Backlink Factory, GMB Factory, whatever it happens to be, right? The really interesting thing that we have found out is that if you use all these other expensive tools, SEO Autopilot, Money Robot, build all these PBNs, you're building stuff that's very low quality. But the problem with that is, and I am kind of trashing it, but the problem is it's like when you do those links, you can't just be a little bit pregnant. You know what I mean by that? You build all that shit out there, and guess what? It stays out there. And if it doesn't help, or if it's not good or whatever, it becomes a negative asset sometimes to what you're trying to accomplish. So what Roger's trying to share with you here is that, you can be as aggressive as you want with all of the Ranking Factory products because they're all Google related products. And they're all, okay, here's another concept for everybody to understand. that may not understand. Every single product that we build that is related to Google properties resides where? Does it reside on your computer, on your hard drive, in a folder, in a file, or does it reside on your Google Drive? Right? So if it resides on in Google Heaven, it's in Google Heaven, it's on the Google Drive. And the only way that what you build and what Roger's trying to share with you here, the only way that becomes effective is that if you decide by your graciousness that you want to share your drive with the public, then those links that you build and all the stuff that you're sharing on your drive become public. And then that's how we create these backlinks. So if you overdo it and you build 23 million backlinks and you see that your site just went from number 3 to number 27, if you were to have done that in Money Robot or SEO Autopilot or whatever, and they're great programs for what they do, don't get me wrong, I'm not trashing them. The simple fact of the matter is, once it's out there, it's out there. You can't be a little bit pregnant. But with what we're doing here with Ranking Factory, you can be 8 months pregnant and then decide to turn the switch off on your Google Drive, and those links no longer are valid. Nobody sees them. And all of a sudden, all that power that you put out there, maybe it was too much power and your site tanked, you totally delete those by turning them off, and you'll see within a couple days that your ranking will return back to what it is. So my point is, don't be afraid to overdo it or do it and test it to the maximum, because if you do make a mistake, you can just always turn the light switch off. Does that make sense to everybody? You know, and you know, Paul is kind of right. Google will never penalize itself, but one of the things that can happen is we can overindulge and we can gorge ourselves on the thought process. I can make 1 million links with our system, and you can, and we've had people do it. And then all of a sudden, I mean, million's a lot, but we had one guy make 100,000 backlinks to a site, and you know, all of a sudden it disappeared. It just disappeared. So he turned the switch off and it came right back. Does that make sense to everybody? So just keep that in mind as you're thinking about the power of what you can do here. And you know, once again, like I said, all these other tools that are out there are good for whatever the purposes in which they're trying to accomplish their goals. But we just think that by using links that we can create with Google, we're just kind of creating, you know, a better scenario than some of the other systems that are out there. And let's not be naive to think that, you know, Money Robot and SEO Autopilot and some of these other, they do help. But the degree of what we might be able to help is probably equal to or greater than anything. And they're not cheap either, by the way. You know, RFR for main tiers, Autopilot for tier 4. You know, great. If that's the way you want to do it, that's fine. I use my RFR links for tier 4, tier 3, tier 2, tier 1, and I want to stack my Google power all the way down the line. That's why we have stacking. So I'm sorry, Roger, go ahead.
No, that's okay. That leads right into the next thing I was going to say. When you contrast all these old ways of doing things with RFR or any other tools that you guys are selling, these are either Google sites, so you've got that domain authority of whatever it is, 97, all that stacking all the way and winding up on your money site. Well, if you're using, I've never used Money Robot. I don't know anything about it. I can't say good or bad, but I've got a good idea what it does. It's basically posting for you on a PBN, on a public PBN network. But you don't control those. And those public PBN networks do not have a 97 DA. If they have a 97 DA, nobody's adding those to a Money Robot PBN network. They're just, I mean, maybe they do a couple, but I doubt it. Like I said, though, there's a lot I don't know about those other programs out there. I've looked at them, but I was never enticed to get involved with them because I didn't see anything different than what I had already been seeing for 12 years. So when you contrast those things, you got DA stacking from all the Google sites, and that's not even counting the Amazon S3, the Microsoft Azure, and the Google Cloud. And there's some others in there. I think RFR is using Alibaba, P Cloud, and one other, I believe.
GitHub, but it really doesn't matter. The simple fact of the matter is that if you only use the basic three, you got more power than you need.
Right. And you can just stack and stack and stack and stack.
So let me just ask you this, and we sometimes, Roger, think everybody knows what we're talking about. So is there anybody in here that doesn't understand stacking? Because I want everyone that's here today, this is kind of like a review of the training, a review of what we're doing, review of why RFR is what it is, but yet there is a method and a system to why we want to go through some of these steps for everybody. Even if you're like Blake or Doss or some of the other guys that kind of understand this, you're going to, have a good feeling for some of the things that Roger might be going over that is a little bit different than what we normally do. So if at any point in time you think we're boring you, just tell me that we're boring you, and then we'll step it up a little bit, okay? Okay, Harry, stacking, very simple, very simple. If you take, a link from your sheets, your backlink, or you take a link from, let's do it this way, you take a link from a Google site, and then you take that link and you build another Google site, and you take the link from your previous Google site and put it in as a resource of the new Google site. You just stacked the link power of one Google site linking up to the next site. Hey, Madge, how you doing, bud? Okay, does that, and if you make a third Google site and you take the link from the second Google site or the second one you built, and take that link and put it in the third, now you got the link from the first going to the second going to the third, so you got two Google sites linking or stacking up to the third one. Got it? Make sense? So you're passing what they call juice. You're passing the authority, right? Has everybody got that pretty much? And their recipes both ways, exactly. All right, cool. Thanks, guys.
And it's just going to look a little something like that.
Yep. Google 3 to Google 2 to Google 1.
So with all that being said, there was another gentleman that joined us in one of the groups. I think it was one of the beta testing. No, it was an RFR group. His name's Bruno. And yesterday he posted that he did a small test 5 days ago and created some stacks, and he saw some pretty good movement. I have all those images, but I got pressed for time and didn't get to get them up for you, but I will have those up later today.
Bruno, Roger, you may or may not know this, but Bruno just joined us within the last 10 days.
Yeah, I know. But he's not new to the game, but he's just new to RFR.
Right.
He kind of knows what he's doing, which is another thing that's important for the less experienced people. If you pay attention to what those people are saying in the groups, you can usually pick out a kernel here and there, and that will benefit you. You just have to listen in the right way, and you can pick up stuff from those veterans. And even, I pay attention to every group that I'm in. I pay attention to every post, and I read every post because I get something out of them almost daily.
Hey, Martin, what's up, bud?
And it's an important part of your education, and education is always going to be ongoing. So keep that in mind. So you contrast all these other tools that we were using back in the day from 10 or 12 years ago, and
or even today.
What's that?
Or even today, people still use some of those.
Oh, absolutely. People are still hammering GSA and not Scrapebox. I forgot to put Scrapebox in there. People are still using Scrapebox. You just can't there is one way to get rid of those links. There's one way to do it, but you have to rely on a third entity in order to get it done. And that's the new disavow tool at Google. So you can go disavow those links, but maybe you don't want Google to know everything you're doing. And more importantly, maybe you don't want your competition. If you're in a hot competition, say in an affiliate niche for a particular affiliate product, you don't want people to know what you're doing. This is a lot better than anything you see in that list. Right, Patrick?
Mm-hmm.
So
look, and like I said before, they can all have value. We're not trashing anything, but we're just saying that maybe, you know, if you learn what we're trying to teach here, you might not necessarily need to have so many of the other tools. That's all. So it can save you money if you can accomplish the same or better goals with some of the things that we give you. It's just a matter of, you know, like what Richard and I were talking earlier, Roger. It's like, what's in my tool chest? What's in my toolbox? I got all these tools. I spend this money, but how many hammers do I actually use? And do I need 3 hammers? That's all. Okay.
Right.
So what are we going to show them today?
Well, that leads me right into the next thing we were doing. So when I got my hands on RFR, I realized right away how strong it really was, and I knew that I wanted to make this an integral part of my business. So what I did was I started creating an SOP, a standard operating procedure, because I want to be able to hand this off to not a completely untrained VA, but a VA with maybe less experience than they would otherwise need in order to get things done with this tool and use it to the max. So I started breaking things down. And when you first get RFR, and if you're not familiar with any of the factory tools, you first get RFR, and all of a sudden you realize what you're looking at. And what you're looking at is a forest full of it's a forest full of trees, and you can't see the forest.
So do me a favor. I see you've got the RFR link on the bottom of your screen. Pop it open real quick.
Okay.
Because for some people that are here that haven't seen this before, you know, just a real quick, you know, when you get this, okay, what you see is all of those tabs. And then if you open up like the Doc Staffer tab, right? We do have training in Google Documents, and we do have videos. Okay, and so most people can follow through with it, but you know, Roger's going to take us to a little different level here. So you look that up and you might get overwhelmed. So you can go back to what your screen was before, but I just want to share with everybody who doesn't know what this is that, you know, it can be a little intimidating. So as the developer of this, I do apologize.
Yeah, well, I can go a little deeper and say it's really intimidating. I mean, it intimidated me, and I've got plenty of experience with running, you know, complex tools. You look at this and you say, where the hell do I start? Where do I start?
Left to right, just like you read a book, Roger, left to right. That's how you start, left to right.
Yeah, I agree. But when you're looking at it for the first time, that's not what comes to mind.
All right, show me what you got.
Okay, so what I did was I took RFR and I said, okay, I'm going to break it down into this section. I'm going to break it into this section, and so on and so forth. So that's what I did. Well, when I got those broken down the way I wanted them, I had a page for each one of these tabs. You know, written instructions, step by step instructions. And
you did this for yourself, nobody else.
No. I did this for me because that's the way I learn. Right. And it's also the way I teach. That allows me to teach a wide range of people, from newbies all the way up to, you know, more experienced people. So I wrote a fast start introduction, and I wrote this basically to myself, so that if I ever have to come back, if I know I ever get lost, I come back and I read this letter. This is a letter I wrote to myself. You know, and obviously for my VAs. So this is a quick start. This gets you primed and prepped, or it did for me. And it may sound hokey, but I've also stood in the mirror before and looked myself in the eye and told myself that I could do something that maybe I didn't think I could do before. So it may be hokey like that, but that's just the way I work. And so when I got everything broken down, and I had a page of written instructions, step-by-step instructions for every tab on RFR, I realized that it wasn't good enough. You you still couldn't look at it and understand the 50-foot view. And I don't, if I bring somebody in to learn something, the first thing I want them to understand is the 50-foot view, 50,000 foot view. That way they know where they've got to start and they know where they're going to wind up, because studying and preparation are two different things, right? For me, when I watch a series of videos, I call that studying. But preparation is writing down your notes in a logical format so that you can follow them completely from beginning to end. That's what I call preparation. I have a problem with the word studying. There's no beginning and there's no end. Preparation is a little bit different, and that's the frame of mind that I use to go into a big project like this. So what I wound up with is a lot more components to the training that I created for myself than I thought I was going to. And basically how it shakes out is I'll do this because you can see every module on the same page. It's easier than looking at that other page. I've got a technical how-to on this tab, and I have a theoretical, or what do you call it, an actual practice of what to do and what you need to understand in order to be successful when you apply your technical steps to this tab. Same with Google Accounts. Okay, here's the step-by-step technical way you do it, but I've got another module that says, well, here's how you do it. Here's the 50,000 foot view of this module. Here's how you do it and why you're doing it this way. And the reason is, when you're working with a powerful tool like this and you make one little mistake, it becomes a huge mistake. And going back and fixing that mistake causes a lot of confusion. It causes you to spend a lot of time on it. And it basically makes me want to drink heavily when I do that. So I found it easier to do it this way. Same thing with short URL. This is actually, short URLs is an easy one. There's not a whole lot going on in here, although it has a lot of power. Document Stacker. Now this is one of the most complex tools in the suite for RFR. And I've got instructions for this tab, this tab, this tab, this tab, and every one of these tabs. So you can see there's a lot going on here in this one.
Why don't you just go to your document stacker tab on your site and show everybody what you're talking about?
Okay. So we will go to.
Well, actually, the way that I was impressed with this, guys, is that I said, Roger, what's in the first tab there? You know, just briefly open them up.
Okay.
There you go.
Here's the Doc Stacker tab. So I make it real easy, even for a VA that doesn't, English may not be their first language. It's real easy. You go to the Article Stacker tab, you add your target URL, you add your main keywords, secondary URL, 25 titles. Skip the translations for now, because that's another layer to the onion that you don't really need until you have a better grasp of everything that's going on. And then go to the original article tab, paste in your article in the original article tab, and it should be spun, should be a spun document. And look, see the instructions that I gave you above here in content creation for doing just that. I've got instructions. Here's an example recipe, and even how to organize yourself on your own computer, your keyword list, write the article, so on and so forth. So let me get back to that tab. Give me just a second here. So you should have a spun document and see the instructions above for content creation. Click spin, check them all to make sure they only have HTML tags remaining. And then copy number 5, go back to the original article, click spin again. I mean, it's just freaking minutia, step by freaking little bitty step. And this is what I had to have to be able to condense my learning curve into a short amount of time, and also condense it for the people who are helping me. So, and once you can get good at that, you start to run a very efficient group of people. And so that's what this is all about. Patrick,
Let me just
what else comes to your mind?
Roger, let me just interject a little bit, because one of the issues that I personally have is that I'm building 30 different products, and we're maintaining and testing 30 different products. And within all that time and systems that we're doing this, someone will call me or they'll Skype me and say, Pat, how do you do this? My reply is, I don't have any freaking clue. I just build it. And then I have other people that train it and train the VAs. I don't have time to do this. But when I saw what Roger was doing here, I looked at this and it's like, this is going to be, for me, the way that we're going to train all of our VAs. Because I can't train a VA. I don't have time to train a VA. And for a VA to go into our system, which everybody's used our system for the last year and a half, and they're all very successful at it. So can it be better? Somebody step up to the plate and make it better. Roger did it for himself. I'm only just saying that this is my go-to system now. And so I figured, since it's what I'm doing, I don't have any problem sharing it with you guys out there either. Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
All right, so that's where we are, and then here's another thing that I remember hitting me in the face like a wet horse's tail. It just kind of pissed me off a little bit.
Is that a bit like fried chicken?
That's right. It pissed me off a little bit when I got to the. I know calendars are strong because they update every 30 minutes. You can set them to update for every 30 minutes. And send those notifications, and with the links and all that, and Google's crawling all that stuff. So I said, this will be good. And I got to calendars here to take a look at it, and shit, there's no calendars in here. There's no way for me to put my calendar in here. That's not what this does. Okay, the tool connects you to your calendar. So you have to follow these instructions, and you have to follow the content creation instructions for calendars, and I'll just show it to you. There's keywords, write the article, drive photos, slides module, it's Google Calendar. Okay. So the fact is you have to actually sign in to your Google Calendar account, and you create your calendar. And then once your calendar is created, then you come back to RFR and you pull that calendar in here. Then you start going to work on it, and you start using it for whatever you're going to use it for. Now, what do you use it for? Well, that brings me to another thing that I thought I would be able to explain in a little more detail to the people who are helping me. And I had to learn how to do it too. The recipe. You got to have a general recipe, right? This is what I call my basic recipe. You create an article, you create a post on GMB. This is going to wind up being your buffer document. Or maybe it's going to be because there's something specific you want to promote on your GMB. So you optimize your photos and you upload them to G Drive. You create your slides and text, and then you create your video. You create your calendar pointing to your video. You create custom maps pointing to your calendar. So you see where I'm going with all this? We're stacking everything, and we're leaving the most. We're saving the strongest DA promoters, the strongest domain authority promoters to the last. They're going to be at the bottom of our stack, and they're going to shoot all the way up through your photos in G Drive.
It's like a push-up bra.
It's a push-up bra. That's exactly what it is. Everything's pushing up. It's pushing this DA all the way up, from the bottom all the way up. And then I put little things in here that I know from my years of experience, like tweet that last little freaking link. You've already done all this stuff, and then you send everything to Sheets. You send it to Link Indexer so that you can get those, all of the links that you just created, you can get those indexed quicker. And then I'll take that link, a link to that, to those sheets, and I'll go put that in Twitter. I've got an Age Twitter account, and it has a pretty good effect on helping you to get everything indexed a little quicker than it might be indexed otherwise. So there's little things like that sprinkled in there that's just part of my experience. So that's kind of, I could go on, but I think it would be redundant.
Well, let's ask a couple questions. Is there anybody here that's a little bit short knowledge on a particular aspect and wants him to open up a tab for something that you'd like him to see, that you'd like to see? Anybody? Yeah, Heather, not going to do everything, baby. Blogger. There you go. Blogger.
Blogger. I have 3 of these that I don't have set up yet. Blogger's one of them.
Oh, that's coming. Okay, Sheets.
Okay, Sheets. All right, Google Sheets and Link Grabber. Karen did this video together, and I think I've got her video in here yet. And there's
we do have to recognize the fact that this is, we're going to continue to do what we're doing on the Google Documents, and Karen continues to do her videos and that type of thing. This is just the next level. That's all.
Yeah, just a little deeper dive for better understanding. So Google Sheets. So if you follow the instructions thus far, and let me tell you what I mean by that. That means Google Sheets is in the position that it's in the hierarchy on this page for a particular reason. You don't need Sheets until you get your Google Site Builder stuff done. You don't need Google Site Builder stuff done until you get your HTML creator process finished. Same with slides, calendar, all the way down. These are positioned in a particular way, kind of the way you're going to work your recipe, right? So this is basically, everything is laid out here for that basic recipe that I just showed you a minute ago. So let's go back to Sheets. So if you follow the instructions thus far, you've been sending everything that you've got to Sheets. Another thing that you need to become cognizant of and be super vigilant on is every time you do something, before you press that button to make the software work, you damn well better hit that save button. Right, Patrick?
Yes, sir.
You better hit that save button. Go ahead. Sorry to interrupt you. What were you going to say?
I said that's why we put it in there, because, for those of you who aren't doing that, whenever you create your campaign or you create your sheet or you create your module, you hit the save button. Next time you just load that up. It's all right there. Change a couple words, spin it around a little bit, add a little bit of the sugar and spice and all things that are nice, and publish it again. So you take the time to, like Roger says here, create the masterpiece, and then you can just copy it, within seconds and blast it out again in seconds and blast it out again with just some different content in there, different image in there, different, links in there, whatever you want to do. But it saves you tremendous amount of time. And that's why, Chris has added the load and save button to everything that we've done on every module that we've ever built.
It really is brilliant. I mean, this can be a long process, and hell, it is a long process.
Oh, wow.
It just is. But once you get the process done and you've got that content created, you are literally never more than 5 minutes away from 1,500 to 2,000 to 3,000 backlinks if you need them. I mean, it's huge. You can't do that with Linkvana. You can't do that with GSA. Maybe Xrummer's changed a lot. I don't know. I don't even play with that anymore.
So let's just do something really quick. And I know this is a little off topic. Open up RFR and go to Sheets real quick. I want to share something with somebody. Okay. So when you're in Sheets, what Roger's talking about, you notice that you've got, you know, your keyword 1, your keyword 2, and you have your URLs, and you can stuff the absolute poop out of your file description. But the interesting thing is that, you know, when you save this and load it back up, all you have to do is copy a different file description in there in your text comment, and you've got a completely new, you know, set of sheets out there with new metadata that's being read by Google based on the file description. So you can utilize that in a lot of different ways. But very simply, talk about stacking for those of you who don't have Backlink Factory, is that, you know, if you type in your keyword, your secondary keyword, and your list of URLs, then you get your link to that sheet, right? So you got the link to your sheet, link A. Now you come in and you do this again, save and load, you load it up, you do it again, you do a different set of 2 keywords. Now you got 4 keywords. So the last link that you make under the URL is going to be the last sheet link that you made that you stick in the URLs. So now the last sheet link that you put in the URLs is going to be anchor text by the 2 new keywords that you've added into the sheets. Everybody understand that? You save that one, you get that URL. Now you got 2 URLs of 2 different sheets that you made, and you continually do this process 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times, and you stack every one of those Google Sheets to the next Google Sheet, to the next Google Sheet, to the next Google Sheet, and the only Google Sheet that you publish anywhere is going to be the last one that you've created, and that can be an embed code. And you could take that embed code just from this module. You could put it in IFTTT. You could put it in Magis press releases. You could put it in Embed Factory. You could send it to Money Robot. You could send it to SEO Autopilot. Everybody understand and get that little trick concept that we teach people? Stack your stuff, but it takes time to do it, right? It's just, you just do it. And that's what you know, Roger gets into, not just the technical prospects of this, but he's also going to do some training, also going to do some videos and some concepts and some other things that we do in our webinars, but we don't have time to actually do all of that for all of our modules. You know, and I do have to apologize for that, but you know, there's only so much we can do, right? Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's a beast.
I got a couple of people in here that are saying, I didn't know we could do that. So that's great. I'm glad we're able to share that with you guys today.
Then maybe we can drill down a little bit and do some webinars on some of those things.
You will. You and I will.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. So does anybody have any questions for me? I think I've shown you everything that you needed to see. I mean, it's almost so a monkey could do it.
You know, they got sued over that commercial. I wouldn't necessarily say that. But here's an interesting little tidbit right here. And I want everybody to be honest with me, okay? How many of you knew that you could take the sheet embed code, and did you know that you could embed it in all of these properties? Look at all of these properties. Everybody be honest with me. Did you know you could use all of these, every single one of them? And okay, so far everybody's being honest, except for one person who's lying to me. Okay. All right, that's fine. Okay, great. So the point that we're trying to share with you is that this is very interesting. Okay, we have told you this, I don't know how many times. We have shared this with our members. I don't know how many times. We have done webinars on this. I don't know how many times. But the simple fact of the matter is, if I didn't have that in front of me right now looking at it, I could tell you that I would miss a couple, okay? I would miss a few. And so the brilliance of, you know, a geek like Roger is you're not going to miss anything, because he's going to make it and has made it for him, and it's for himself. The whole point of this, this wasn't to do for us. He did this for himself. And, you know, if he can do it for himself, then it's got to help us in some way, shape, or form. Agree? So anyway, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. How do you add the embed? Well, when you publish your Google Sheet, you make it public. I don't know if you can show that real quick, Roger.
Yeah, we can get in there.
Pull up one of the sheets. Okay, and then when you make it public, there's a little button there that says get link or get embed code. So watch what he's going to do here.
Let's see. That's the share button. Well, that one's private. Give me a second here.
Okay. And we've gone over this with everybody before. Okay, and I'm not trying to be mean about it, but there is a lot of stuff, and unless I have something like we do with all the dev stuff that we do, we have to have stuff like this or we forget, because there is a lot of information that we give you. Very, very powerful stuff. Okay, very, very effective stuff. It works. If it didn't work, we wouldn't have over 800 people still using our program, you know, with a less than a 2% cancellation. And you know, I do realize that there are stupid people in the world, so 2% stupid people is not so bad. We're using the last sheet stack URL in an iframe act the same for embedding. As long as that sheet URL is in that iframe, yes, it's embedded in that iframe. It's part of that embed. So yes, it will carry the juice all the way down to the other sheets, Paul, if that's your question. Okay? That's the reason why we have the HTML creator with the doc stacker, or the doc stacker, so we can take the HTML and load it up to the cloud, and then we stack all the clouds and you get all of that. Does that make sense to everybody? Are the sheets via RFR automatically public? No.
No, you have to. That's in the instructions too, right here. Well, I said it's in there. I may have to update it. Go to indexer, click
They weren't initially automatically public. I'm not sure if they are right now or not.
No, you have to go back in. You have to go back in. Now, you can make a folder public, and anything you put in there is going to be public, but it's always good. Karen says it's always, and she's been working with this a lot longer than I have, but Karen says it's always a good idea.
Check it.
To log in and check it. Yeah. And here's the share process. Here's where you get the link. So you click share, get shareable link, and here's your link. Okay. The embed, that is not the embed link.
You haven't made it public yet.
No, yeah, you're not going to get an embed link until you make it public.
Correct.
Yeah. So, but once you make it public, and the instructions will be in there, I'll fix that or add that to it. You can choose a direct link, or you can choose an embed link.
Correct.
So, okay, well, let's make this public.
Right there you go.
See if we can do it here.
Now you got your.
Well, it's not giving me the embed link. Advanced. Surely it's there.
Go back out to your file. Just close this down.
Okay.
Go to file. Okay, and then go down to publish on the web.
There we go.
There's your embed link.
There we go. Publish that. There's your embed link.
So Alex, you know, really kind of is saying the right stuff here. Is I test all my links. You know, never take anything for granted, because it is software, right? Test all my links to see that the links are made with Sheets, so that this is how I know that they're always public from RFR. We tried to do this in many cases, but it's ultimately up to you to test it. Always test your links. Paul's exactly correct, right?
Yep. And here's another little something. I don't know if you guys know about this or not. Website called Small SEO Tools, and they have a bunch of free tools in here that you can use. Let's see if there's a link checker in here. Backlink tools. There's 115. Asshole pop-up. Wasting time.
Well, one of the other things that you and I talked about, Roger, is a little bit of a resource area also, where we're going to start adding some of these external places that are free for checking stuff and tools for different things.
Yeah. It's there's a bunch of cool little things out there that can save you some time.
Exactly. And so we're going to ask everybody to help participate, because we did this once before. We do have a list, favorite tools, favorite free tools, favorite inexpensive tools, that kind of stuff. So we're going to go back and make that list. It was something I did at the very beginning of RFR. And, like Karen, she's always telling us about her little free tools like checkspintext.com, or Paul put that one in there, or sticky notes, or cliff notes. I mean, so that's something that I'm going to work on to bring that back and get people to help us with adding some of those tools, because there's a lot of free tools out there that can help us with what we do, right? And yeah, JC, you're exactly right. We can learn something new every single day. So anyway, we're at an hour. So that being said, how much time do I have left on this webinar before I have to close? Anybody know? No, come on, you know exactly the number. It's 4:04 right now. Samuel, come on, guys. All right, nobody's going to get it. 56 minutes. Typically, my webinars are 2 hours. You know that, but we're not going to go that long today. So let's kind of wrap this up a little bit. One of the things that I want to do with Roger is that this is going to be a series. So Roger's committed to learning all of my products, Gary and my products, and all the products that Chris just, how many of you guys love Chris? Anybody not love Chris? I mean, Chris just spends hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours trying to make all of these programs work for you. I mean, literally hours, right? So once again, I don't want anybody to think that this is necessary, because we are going to continue to do what we're going to do. But one of the things that I spoke to Roger about is, he's going to do some over-the-shoulder training as well. And we're going to do webinars maybe once a month, or maybe 2 times a month, on something to go a little bit deeper in some of these issues. Whereas when we do training, when Henrik does training or I do training, Terry and Madge, they get into some details on their side as well. We're literally going to go through every one of our products. It's going to take a while to do this type of thing. Is there anything about what Roger's showing you right now that you don't like? Do you think this is pretty cool stuff? Cool. Okay. Here's a great comment, Roger. Feel like a hook being set. Oh, JC, come on, man. That hurts. That really hurts, man. Yeah, the simplest stuff is sometimes the most brilliant, and I want to overcomplicate it. Thanks, Richard. I appreciate that. Scott says, look, it would be nice if each section had a very visible date of last update in case you modify or add a tip or two.
Yeah, absolutely. Just create a new page and label it as updated this day so that you'll understand where you need to go when you come back and you haven't seen it yet. Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. I think that's imperative.
So what is your commitment to doing this to this level, because you're going to do this anyway for yourself?
The number one reason is I need it.
So we're going to go a little bit deeper. So what's the next module that you're going to do once you get RFR finished?
Well, that'll depend, basically on what your priorities are. But my idea is to go to the one of the ones that hadn't been released yet, because it is so powerful. And combining that one with this one, I think is it's more incredible than I would have thought up myself. I'm pretty creative on some things, but using those two, you want me to say what it is?
No.
Okay.
I got somebody accused me of hyping something the other day, and I kind of lost my temper.
Okay. Well, that happens to good people, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. So anyway, get back to what we're doing. What is it that you want to share with everybody? How are we going to go forward? Does anybody want to get and participate in this with Roger? It's $99 a month and $199 up front. Anybody go for it? Anybody? Going once? Going twice? Nobody's buying.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's about what it's worth. It really is.
We know what it's worth. So where are we going to go for this? What are you doing?
Well, it's taken me 6 weeks to get to this point, working almost exclusively on this. So that will tell you what the value is right there. But I've got it priced at $97 and $10 a month for the updates, and keeping track of the updates, which was it's a great insight there. Somebody's doing some thinking.
That's too much money.
Well, I think so. Well, I think you think so. So half of that, 48 and some change, and then $10 a month.
That to me would be reasonable. So if that's okay with you, then for anybody that wants to participate with this kind of deep level dive, that would be fine. I think that would be a reasonable price I would pay it myself. And so let's hear from everybody out there. What do you think?
And I'll say it again. $50 in return for 6 weeks of your time, and not to mention not having to do this.
Well, here's the thing that I think of, and how many of you guys out there are using VAs right now?
Oh yeah.
Anybody? How many are using VAs? Is this a standalone, or will he take questions of things not clear? No, we're going to do fits. What I've made Roger commit to is at least once or twice monthly going over details, videos, do video webinars. This isn't just you buy it and you read it and you do it. He has to be committed to continue to do value for every one of us, and go into detail, over the shoulder, watching how he's doing whatever it is that he's going to be doing for his campaigns, that type of thing. But like for all of us, and quite a few of us here have VAs, okay? I think this particular aspect of what we can offer to our VAs is going to be so critical in their learning curve and shortening their learning curve and doing it the way that it needs to be done, because I'm pretty much going to guarantee, you know, that you and I and all the people that are saying that they have VAs, you could not teach your VA to the level that this is going to be able to help you. Would you agree? All you guys that have VAs, do you agree? I mean, how much time do you take with your VA trying to teach them something and they still do it wrong, right? And when I first saw this, my mind goes to the VA, because a lot of us have VAs helping us do this work, a lot of us, right? And if we don't understand it properly, how are we gonna impart that to our VA, right? You know, I think Keith and Paul and the rest of us in here would kind of agree to that. So basically, you know, with that being said, I've allowed this to be a separate program for those who want to participate and dig deep and you know, take RFR to the next level. This isn't replacing what we're doing. We're going to continue to do what we're doing. Karen's going to continue to do what she does with the Google document, you know, that we have for training and stuff like that. But yeah, I think this is more like a college course for RFR, as one would think about it in terms of what we do with our webinars, and we go through them and the training that we do. I really can't say enough about what Roger's done. So I've allowed this to come to your attention, and some people are going to say, well, you know, why would you do that when you get yours for free? Yeah, mine's free. It's no big deal. But I think this is going to get you where you need to be faster, quicker. And I will say that recently we have a lot of people that are asking for additional help, and they're booking sessions, private sessions with some of our mentors, and they're paying $50 to $100 an hour, okay, to be mentored by somebody on a specific thing within the Ranking Store suite of products. So when Roger came with this, with the price point, it seemed to be, like, for me, a no-brainer for those who want to have something to refer to, go back to. It's right there. I love the Q&A approach to it. You know, pick your tab, go in there, know what you got to do, and go from there. So with that being said, I'll kind of like shut up. And new discovery, you know, also I want to pay, keep up the development, new recipes, 100% needs to be done. Too much. Yes, it's too much. Okay. So that's kind of like where we're at. What other questions? Do you have a link for people to buy?
I don't. I had a little technical issue and ran out of time, but I'll have it in 15 minutes after this webinar is over.
Okay. Any questions? Send out the link. I will send out the link, Heather, to, I'll put it in the RFR room. How's that? Let me ask you a question. Is there anybody that's here today that does not own Ranking Factory? Alex, this is a Ranking Factory. This is not Mega Stacker. This isn't the image duplicator. This is all RFR, anyway, who doesn't have Ranking Factory? Is there anybody in here who's not a member of Ranking Factory? I own it but haven't used it. Lonnie, you're going to use it now, my friend. Paul, you better get on board. I need to reinstall. Not a member. George, hit me up. Don, hit me up. The power. This is Valerie. Come on, baby. Let's go, baby. You got to get hooked. You got to do this. The training here is awesome. So let me answer a question. Okay, and I'm going to do it this way. All right. Let's see here. Where are we? Watch this. I think this will work. Okay, you guys see me, right?
Yep.
All right. So, a lot of people ask, why do I need ranking factory if I have GMB factory? Why do I need backlink factory if I have ranking factory? Why do I have Mega Cloud if I have GMB? I want everybody to understand that when we build something, we don't build it to replace what we've already built, okay? We build additional modules that can be used and bolted on with any one of the other ones. The core product, the very, 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 very core product of everything that we do really starts and evolves around ranking factory. No matter what else you have, ranking factory is the driving force behind the cloud stacks, behind the document and the buffers and the G sites. You can use ranking factory to rank and help to rank anything, right? You've got your bloggers, you got your, and if you do and tie your blogger through ranking factory to an IFTTT syndicated ring, okay? But, let's say you got GMB factory because you're doing local GMBs. Well, if you think about it, you take all of the power of RFR and you start shoving it towards your GMB, factory, because the GMB factory is just designed to help your GMBs, but RFR is designed to push power to the links, to the posts, to the business sites, to the images, to the driving directions, which we have a new driving direction program coming out next week anyway. But, you see what I'm saying? So I don't want anybody to think that, oh, if I have backlink factory, I don't need RFR. If I have GMB factory, I don't need RFR. RFR is the foundation for every single thing that we do, every single thing that we build. Okay, we're going to be launching the new image SEO program here pretty soon. But the fact of the matter is, you've got those images, you've got to do something to them, and that's ranking factory. And I just wanted you to see the sincerity of what I'm trying to share with you is that, this is the core, and everything else evolves around it, and you can push all that power and all these stacks and all the things that Roger is talking about, okay? Even though some of the simpler things like the sheets in RFR is not as beefed up as backlink factory, it's still extremely effective, okay? We just took backlink factory to a different level of what's in ranking factory. But you still use those backlinks, for the sheets, and you can still stack them and stack them and stack them. It just takes a little bit longer. Does that make sense to everybody? Right? Oh, it's blue. I wasn't anticipating doing this. So I'm going to the gym afterwards. But, we're just real. It's just the way that it is. Okay? I actually probably forgot to actually comb my hair too, so what the hell. But anyway, wanted you to just kind of like not hear me talk about it, but the passion that we have about why and what we do, and how Chris just really digs in to make things work. And when something breaks, he fixes it, and it just makes it better. So anyway, that's one of the reasons I wanted to bring Roger on, because in any process, you've got, just like your children, they go to kindergarten, they go to first grade, they go to middle school, they go to high school, they go to college. What Roger's bringing to the table here for me, and how I use it, this is going to be my only go-to process for my VAs, because he can do it way better than I can. Does that make sense to everybody? So anyway, I'll leave it at that. If you don't have ranking factory, PM me, and we'll make sure that you do. Valerie, if you haven't used it yet, sweetheart, this, and Paul, if you haven't used it yet, sweetheart, get your ass off your chair and get it, because you're missing the opportunity, sweetheart. Okay. Anyway, that's my soapbox. I'm sticking to it, and I still have 40 minutes left on my time, Mr. Speaker of the House. I yield my time to Roger.
Anything I'm going to say now is going to be redundant, but I'll answer any questions anybody has.
Any questions? The only requirement that What was the cost again? It's going to be $49 and $9.99 a month.
Right.
And I will add, so that everybody knows, if he creates another, Danny, it is amazing, right? Let me just ask you guys a question. When we bring something to the table for you, do you guys always think that whatever we give you is an amazing price? Right? I mean, we're not out here like everybody else, you know, to try to, and I should be, because, okay, I'm gonna do this again. You see this face? It's 67 years old. I want to be retired, and the only way to retire is to get more money. But I'd rather get more money by having more members than having you guys pay us more. Is that fair? That's why we really tried to, I mean, shit. There are people in Ranking Factory that came in here when we first started. They're still paying me $19.99 a month, and look what they get for that money. We're not these other guys that, you know, oh, version 2, charge you again. Version 3, charge you again. Version 4, charge you again. No. So, you know, I need to do that because I do want to retire in a couple of years. So we're going to jack our prices up pretty soon, if you guys agree.
I have a question.
You can't see me smiling. See, somebody was in for 19, they went out, now they got to come back in and pay more. There you go. And Lonnie, you know, I was a smart one. I bought the lifetime. Yeah, you did, sir. Or Lonnie. I can't tell if that's a guy or girl. Anyway, so my point to you was this. If you start off with this one, when Roger does another one, it'll only be a couple extra dollars per month to get the other one. Not going to be another full amount of money. It's just, you know, maybe it's going to be another $5, $6, $7 a month added on to the next one or whatever. We haven't decided that, but you guys are going to, you know, kind of tell us. Silas, Roger's trying to sell something so bad he doesn't even have a link to buy it. How's that? That's how much we're concerned about this.
It's pretty sorry marketing right there.
Yeah. PM me, email me. I'll get you the link, but I'll put it in the Ranking Factory room. So here's the one thing I can ask you guys that are here. Okay. For those of you that are in any of our rooms at all, okay, if you guys would share your thoughts about what we shared with you today, you know, personally, do you think it's of value? There might be some people in here that think it sucks. And if that's the case, you know, let everybody know you think it sucks. But, you know, if you think it's good, pop in the room, just a simple comment. Hey, we were on the webinar with Pat and Roger. You know, the level and the depth of the training is off the charts, if you truly believe that. If not, say what you believe. And, you know, just tell everybody in there, when I put the replay in there, they need to watch the replay. Okay? Takes all the excuses not to use RFR. Steve, that's the new headline to our launch. There's no excuse not to buy. All right. Any other last questions? So how are we going? Let me see. So how are we going to get the link? Well, Silas, are you in any one of my rooms? Or PM me in Skype, Patrick Tuttle. That's my name. Just PM me, right? Oh, here's a question, Steve. An all-in-all lifetime buy. Well, all right. Roger and I'll have to talk about that. Okay? All right. Nothing left? You guys are awesome.
I have a couple points.
What?
I'd like to know, I mean, since we have quite a few people here, do people... I prefer forums. That way I can go back and read history of a single topic. But some people like Skype groups. I'd like to get a consensus on what people like better. And do we need a Skype group or a forum for this? If not, the question doesn't matter. But if people think we do, so that they can ask questions and get quicker answers from me.
No, we need a separate venue for the people that are going to participate, because this is specifically for them. whether it's a Facebook group, whether it's a Skype group, which is my preference. But would everybody agree that, you're paying for something specifically for you? You don't want the information be in the main rooms. Is that correct, everybody? I mean, so we need to have our own little group here that's only going to be relevant to this, whether it's RFR, whether it's backlink, it's all going to be in the same group that we can talk about. Okay? So whatever that group looks like, if it's a Discord, if it's a Skype, if it's a Slack, if it's a Schmack, if it's a Ding Dong, whatever it happens to be. Roger's the one that's going to handle this and maintain it. So I will bow to the fact that he loves Skype and that's where it's going to be. But other than that, he can go anywhere he wants.
Freaking hate Skype.
Fried chicken training group.
What does everybody prefer here?
That's not going to get you an answer.
Well, it'll be easier for me if it's at least a Facebook group.
Skype, forum, Discord, forum, Facebook, screw Facebook, no Facebook, scrolling Skype sucks. Hey, listen, Gainer, I want everybody to realize, if you go into Skype, do you realize that there is a right click and you can bookmark what you want to bookmark so that you don't have to scroll anymore? You can just bookmark what you want. Does anybody know that feature exists? It's called bookmark, right click, bookmark. Okay? Try it. And then you can have all the things that you read and bookmark them, and they're all right there for you. Okay? Work on Facebook all day, so hate using it for community talk. Yeah, I agree. I don't like Facebook at all. You guys are welcome. I didn't realize the bookmark was there until I was going to create a poll the other day, and I said, "What the hell is this bookmark?" Oh, cool. Steve got a point. There's a lot of chatter in Skype. So I think the answer to your question is everybody has a pro and con about every single one that's out there. So as I said, you're not going to get a consensus.
Okay. Will it piss people off if I just do it what's easiest for me?
They'll either decide that they want to go with it or not. So whatever you decide, man.
Okay. All right. Another point I wanted to make, and this is a point I made to you, Patrick. I'm a pilot. You're a pilot.
Yep.
And what a lot of people that aren't pilots, and I didn't know this before I was a pilot, what a lot of people don't realize that those guys who are flying 350 people in those whatever airplane, the big heavy airplanes that the commercial airlines use, those guys have a checklist. And it's no BS checklist. I mean, there are 250 things that they have to do before they mash the throttle on that thing to go down the runway. And they use a checklist because that's the most efficient way of getting everything done the quickest without making any mistakes. And I still use it. I've been flying for a while, several years. So I still use a checklist, even when I'm flying a small private plane, because I don't want to miss anything. If I miss anything, that's going to cost me my life possibly, and it's always going to cost a lot of money if you screw up in an airplane. So maximum efficiency, least amount of mistakes. I apply those principles to my business just like I apply them to flying an airplane. So if you can get your mind around that, you can make yourself and your team more efficient. And a checklist is always the way to go. It's a standard operating procedure. This is how it needs to be done. So that's a little more value for you, but just a point I wanted to make. I thought it was a really important one. You don't know what those guys are doing up there in the cockpit when you're on a commercial flight, but I just told you. They're reading their checklist one line at a time. flipping one switch at a time. And that's just the way it is.
Exactly. All right. Just share on Skype groups and let everybody know what you thought. My Skype, if you don't know what it is just my name, Patrick Tuttle. PM me, and then Roger will have a link here shortly. And we'll probably just take the link and put it in the Facebook group on Skype. For those who know what it is, it's fine. And for those who don't know what it is, that's fine too, right? Thank you both again. This is a game changer for me. Thank you. We appreciate that, Heather. All right. I'm done. Roger.
Okay.
Done.
I'll have you that link shortly. Thanks. Thanks, everybody. Really appreciate it.
All righty.
All right. See ya.